Hello there, my name is Ragnon, and this is going to be my 2023 guide on getting started with Phasmophobia for beginners. If you're familiar with the game, if you're experienced, this might be a little bit basic, but I want to go from start to finish on an amateur match for people who are getting started with the game and a little confused with how systems work and how to be successful with finding and identifying a ghost. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that I am mostly a World of Warcraft streamer, but I've found that Phas is a fun game to play on the side, especially during content droughts. It's a really fun game to play co-op as well. It's always exciting. So let's go ahead and get started here. The lobby has changed a bit since past iterations. Right now, if you push spacebar, you'll go ahead and see the main menu here. I'm going to walk through the basics of the menus so that we can get into a match here. First of all, I'm not going to do training. If you are brand new to the game, training can be a great way to get started. It has a non-violent ghost, so it'll get you the opportunity to practice finding evidence and finding the ghost type without having to worry about dying. So that can be a good way to get started. I'm going to push single player here. My difficulty, I'm going to keep it amateur. I'm not going to buy any extra equipment for this. You're actually already given all of the equipment that you need to successfully identify the ghost type using to find all three pieces of evidence. So I'm not going to buy any extras, but if you were to buy any extras after you start getting some money, I would recommend buying one extra photo camera, not the video camera. One extra photo camera so that you can get 10 photos, which is the maximum amount that you can take so that you can earn more money. I also recommend buying a strong flashlight because it's a big quality of life increase. The basic flashlight is very weak, and this is just going to make your life so much easier. And then the last thing that I recommend buying is a thermometer. The thermometer can be very, very helpful for identifying the ghost room, and especially on higher difficulties, it can help you with identifying if the ghost room is still actually the ghost room or if it's wandered. On amateur, it doesn't wander, so once we find it, we've got it. The shop system is over here to the right. It's a little confusing. I'm going to check out of everything right now. Once you do start buying items, the way that it'll save right here on your loadout. So for example, I said that it's good to buy an extra photo camera and a strong flashlight and then a thermometer. If I push plus, you'll see right here on the left is the number of items that I have. You can see I've got a bunch of these items already, and on the right is how many are included in this current loadout. So I've already bought them, but if I had not, it would say buy here, and you'd click on that and it would get grayed out saying that you have purchased them, you're ready to add them to your mission. If I push add here, they've now been added to the truck, and you can see I could buy them again for $30 more. So you can see the yellow marker here shows all the equipment that's in the truck. Your main equipment, you have one of each already in the truck, and you can see we already had one photo camera, so now we've got two, and then I've added a strong flashlight and a thermometer. I'm going to remove all that because I recommend that you start off with only the basic equipment that's provided. That's going to help you be a little less scared to die. It's only positive, so as far as money goes, you're not going to lose your items and stuff like you would if you brought your own stuff, and so that'll take a little bit of the stress of the game off, and you can have some freedom to learn. Here to the left are all the different locations. I'm going to go ahead and choose Tanglewood. This is the starter location. It's my favorite map. Even on the hardest difficulties, I love Tanglewood. It's a great map. Pretty basic. So I'm going to go ahead and ready up and start here. So in a match, what are we trying to do? The main objective, if we do nothing else, what we're trying to do is figure out what the ghost type is. If I push J, you can see here under evidence, we've got lots of different types of ghost. And for each type of evidence that we get, once we have three pieces of evidence, we'll know exactly what the ghost is. So for example, if we got EMF level 5, ghost writing, and fingerprints, we would know that it's a myling. And so we could click on that. When it's circled, we know that we're locking that in as our guest. our guess, excuse me. And then when we leave the match by clicking on this, after everything's done, if we're correct, we'll get a good amount of money. If we're wrong, then we'll maybe hopefully earn money for our other things that we did, our pictures and whatnot. So that's what our main objective is. Our secondary things that we're looking for is there is a bone somewhere in the house. We want to take a picture of it, and we also want to pick it up. That's worth a decent amount of money. And then the third and final thing that we'll be focusing on in this video is taking as many pictures as we can of things like interactions. That's like doors getting opened or things getting thrown. If there's a cursed object, we'll take a picture of that, like a ghost mirror or a music box or something like that. And then filling up as many photos as we can. Since we only have one photo camera, we're only going to be able to have 5 photos, and there's a maximum of 10 slots that you can fill, so we would need a second camera in order to do that. And then if we happen to get these secondary objectives, then that's great. We actually can't do any of these with our current gear because we don't have a candle, we don't have a smudge stick, and we don't have a crucifix. So not going to be able to get any of those. Sometimes they're easy, like find evidence using an EMF reader. You're going to get that 100% of the time. So sometimes they're more difficult like this, but if you can get those, that'll be extra money. You can see right here, our ghost name is J. Watts. And then if we ever needed to check this again, we can actually check it from within the house by pushing J and going to Overview. And it has all the info we need. It has the name, it has the optional objectives, all that good stuff. So the equipment that I like to grab when I first go into the house is the EMF reader. I'm going to push E to pick it up, the photo camera, and then the flashlight. If you have a flashlight as one of your 3 items, you can have it turned on or off by pushing T, or you could hold it manually and right click. But having another item allows you to have 2 things going at once. So the EMF reader, this is going to detect ghost activity, so I'm going to hold it up to an item that's moved or something like that, and that'll tell me if it was a ghost or if it was already like that. So what we're trying to do at the very beginning is we're trying to find the ghost room. The ghost can interact with things all over the house, but there's going to be a primary area where it likes to stick and it likes to do most of its activity. Also, that area will have a lower temperature than the rest of the house. So if we had a thermometer, which we might in a future game, then we could check the temperature of that area, and if it's lower, significantly lower than the rest of the house, we know that that's the ghost room. On higher difficulties, the ghost room can move around and change, so that's a good way to confirm if the ghost is still there or if it's moved. By default, on this difficulty, on amateur, the breaker starts on, so the house will already be warm. Which is necessary for us to be able to determine the ghost room using the thermometer. On higher difficulties, the breaker will start off, so we'll need to go turn that on and give it a minute or 2 to warm up before we can actually accurately use the thermometer to tell where the room is. The other gear that we have is we have the photo camera. That's going to be for our money, taking pictures of stuff as it happens. The spirit box, the notebook, the video camera, the dots projector, and the UV light, those are all going to be helping us get other pieces of evidence, and we'll go over that as we need them. I'll make sure to use every single one of these before the match is done so that you can see how to use each piece of equipment accurately. So I'm going to go ahead and right click to turn on my EMF reader. Push E to grab the keys. Make sure you get the keys, otherwise you can't get in the house. It's a pretty easy mistake to make. And I'm going to click to open up the truck. Now over here you'll notice there's a timer. This is the grace period before we're allowed to get hunted and killed. So on amateur, we have 5 minutes to roam around the house, look for evidence, interact with the ghost, set up our equipment, stuff like that. After 5 minutes has passed, then it's allowed to hunt us. On higher difficulties, this is a shorter timer, or there's no timer at all. And I've actually had some games where I've died immediately as walking into the house. So that can happen. It's pretty rare, but it's always a possibility. So we're going to take advantage of this grace period. What we're going to do when we walk into the house is, first of all, we're going to listen and try to hear areas where there's stuff going on in the house. Use the EMF reader to confirm if it was the ghost, and then take pictures of it. We're also going to look for the bone, so we can take a picture of it and pick it up for the money. And if this was a higher difficulty, we'd turn on the breaker. So we're looking for the ghost room. So if you're feeling brave, you could start using your push-to-talk to start saying the ghost's name. You don't have to do that, but that can provoke some activity pretty early. I'm opening these closet doors because I'm looking for hiding spots. Closets are going to be the best. The second... Oh, so we heard a door. So I'm going to use my EMF reader to try to figure out which door that was. It's probably in the garage. Yep. Okay, so you see this door is beeping, so it interacted with this door right here. So that means that we might have a garage ghost. I'm going to turn on the lights here. As much as you can, you want to stand in lit areas because your sanity will drain much slower. Oh, it just turned the lights off on me. Okay, so that is an event called not a ghost orb. A ghost ball or something like that. So you can see it flips off the lights, and that smoke that was moving towards me, it's a jump scare moment. And it drops my sanity a little bit. So I'm looking, this room is most likely the ghost room, so we'll keep looking in here, setting up our equipment. We want to be opening up closets and stuff, looking for hiding spots. First best is closets. Those are great, so you would go in here and you'd shut the door, turn off. Oh boy, we got a ghost photo already. So I knew that was an event. First of all, it's too early for it to be hunting, and we have the grace period because it's on amateur. So I was able to get a lucky ghost photo. Oh, this is an active ghost. Woo! So what I was going to say is to hide, you get inside and you turn off all your electronics because it can sense electronics as well. All right, so definitely a garage ghost, and all of our lights have been turned off, so let's get some of these on. Let's keep looking for the bone while we have our grace period. So, looking for the bone. What I like to do is if it's a hiding spot, then I'll leave the door open. If it's not, then I'll go ahead and close the door so I'm not tempted. The second best hiding spots are line of sight areas like this. I don't recommend hiding in a room like this behind a door because as soon as it opens the door, you're dead. So it needs to have line of sight of you most of the time. So little hidey corners like that are pretty good. Tanglewood's pretty cool because you can actually use this as a hiding spot as well. Like behind this door works, and the only way it'll detect you is if it's standing right here. So that's a pretty powerful hiding spot. So we're just opening everything up, looking for the ghost, or looking for the bone, excuse me, so we can take a picture of it and then pick it up to get the money. Turning off these lights, because if you have too many on at one time, it will flip the breaker, and then all of the light switches will be turned off, and you'll have to do all your hard work over again. So we got the bone, I'm taking a picture of it, and I'm going to push E to pick it up, so that's worth a good amount of money. Let's talk about the breaker real quick. So there's two places the breaker could spawn in Tanglewood. Take a picture of that. One is in the garage, and one is in the basement. In this case, it's in the basement. All right, so for our cursed object, there's 5 different types of cursed objects. This one is a summoning circle. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of that because that's worth money. And I'm going to discard the camera because I'm out of photos that I can take. But we got a picture of the bone, cursed object, ghost, and a couple doors, so that's great. The 5 different types of cursed objects are the summoning circle, the Ouija board, the voodoo doll, the music box, and there's probably one I'm forgetting off the top of my head. The ghost mirror. And so those objects can be used to interact with the ghost in different ways. We're not going to mess with that in our video here, though. That's a bit more advanced. You can see right here my sanity has dropped. The ghost was messing with me. I was looking at the ghost, the ghost orb thing that came. It's not a ghost orb, but ghost ball that came. That all drops my sanity. So depending on the ghost, it can hunt you at different times. Some ghosts are early hunters and they'll hunt you above 50% sanity. And then some will hunt you only when you're very, very low. So they're all kind of different. So that's how you can check your sanity. You'll know that you're huntable when you're below 50%. So I'm kind of getting in that range. So next, I've dropped all my items except for my flashlight. And if I was feeling brave, I could have dropped my flashlight as well and just used the lights in the room or just hugged the walls to have an extra spot to carry things. But we're not going to worry about that. So next, we're going to get the photo camera. I like grabbing the photo camera, and then the next one, the next slot is kind of optional. Let's grab the spirit box because that's good to do when you're higher sanity. Before we go in, you can see right here this activity chart. You can see a 10. The ghost just manifested itself in there. And so each level of activity is something different. Maybe here it was opening a door, and then here it was a interaction or something that like spawned in the room, manifested. So that's how you can, if you have another member in the truck, they can kind of look at that to see what's going on in the house. The next piece of evidence that we're going to look for, because we have not found any evidence right now, the ghost orb. Let me step outside the truck here. If you right click, you'll turn on night vision mode. That can be easier to see the orbs. You can also see it with off, depending on the lighting of the room. I would just check with both. A ghost orb kind of looks like a little snowflake, but the difference is it's not going down. It's like going up and to the side and stuff. It's like little dust floaties. So that is a piece of evidence. And then the other item that I've got is called the spirit box. To use this, you turn off the light and you turn it on. And then you're going to use your push to talk key. You can see if I push V, the microphone comes up on the top left corner of the device. And I might ask a question like, where are you? How old are you? And you can see that X means that it registered that you're talking and it registered a question and it could potentially respond. And it'll say something like, you know, if I said, how old are you? It might say old. And the little ghost symbol there will light up instead of the X. And that would count as a piece of evidence. You can also just leave this on the ground. And it will periodically sometimes talk. Or if you're talking and stuff like that, then it will trigger. You can see, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but I don't actually have to be holding this. I could say, how old are you? See the X lit up. Are you friendly? Okay, so the three questions I like to, you can ask all kinds, but I like to ask, where are you, how old are you friendly? And those are three common questions that it has programmed responses for. So, let's go in the ghost room, which was the garage. Turn off the lights. Where are you? How old are you? Are you friendly? Where are you? Okay, so nothing so far. Let's drop that. Camera. I'm going to turn off my flashlight. Let's look for ghost orbs. Now, I was pretty sure it was the garage, but it very well could not be. It might have just... Oh, it's right here. See? You see that little floaty? That is a ghost orb. That means that this is actually the ghost room. So, let's just set up the camera here just so we have it. I did that by pushing F and then moving my mouse to rotate it. So this is actually the ghost room right here. Let me turn off lights. Where are you? How old are you? Are you friendly? Where are you? So no luck so far. That doesn't mean that it's not a spirit box, but it's less likely. So let's get out of the house. We'll grab some more pieces of equipment. So I'm going to push J and select Ghost Orb. So that narrows it down a little bit. Let's grab our last 3 pieces of equipment, and let's talk about what they are. So, the book, the ghostwriting book, what you'll do is you'll put it on the ground or a table or something like that, and you don't push G because that'll just drop it. You have to push F, and I don't think I can do it outside, but if you push F, that will open it up, and you'll see it has the pin laying across it. If you have that laying in the ghost room, then after a while the ghost will ideally write in it. It'll have like scribbles on it or some creepy words or something like that, so that would count as a piece of evidence. If it throws the book, so if it moves it across the room and it does not write in it, that means that it's definitely not a piece of evidence. It would, if it touched it, it would have written in it. So if it throws it and it's not written in, you can go ahead and cross that off. Next piece of evidence, the UV light. Oh, looks like it flipped the breaker, so I'll have to go fix that. The UV light is used to detect things like fingerprints. Later on, once you buy salt and stuff like that, you can use that to get some footprints and take some pictures of that. So UV light is mostly looking on doors that it interacts with, or windows or something like that, looking for this green, neon green handprint or something like that. You can also see it on light switches. If it's switched the light on or off, you'll see a fingerprint there. Items like books and stuff and picture frames, I don't believe can have handprints or anything on, so don't worry about checking that. It's mostly doors, windows, light switches. Oh, it's messing with the car. I'll have to turn that off in a second. The last piece here is the dots projector. So again, you don't want to throw it. You have to push F to put it on the ground or a wall, and what that'll do is it'll project these beautiful looking green dots. And this can be a kind of a weird evidence. You have to be patient with this one. Sometimes it happens right away, but if it's dots, you'll see like an outline of a ghost running through it. It literally looks like a ghost running through it. So that's how you use the dots. Now I'm going to set this up. On amateur, the ghost room is not going to change, so I already know that little laundry room is going to be where the ghost is. That or the garage, somewhere in there. It could be both. But since we saw the orbs in that laundry room, I think it's most likely there. So I'm going to set that up in there, and then we could actually see the dots, if it is that, from the camera from within the truck. This is actually a good opportunity to talk about that. So by default, the camera is showing the outside view. If I click on the keyboard, it turns on night vision mode. If I click on the mouse, it'll cycle to our next camera. You can see right here, we've got 2 total cameras. We've got the outdoor one that happens by default, and then we've got our camera that we set up in there. And again, I set that up by pushing F and then moving my mouse to rotate it to where I wanted it to face. And now we can view it from the truck from our safety in here, which is pretty nice. So you can see right there, that's what the ghost orbs look like. You see these little floating balls. That's the ghost orbs. So let's go set up the last 3 pieces of evidence equipment here. Let's turn on the breaker. The breaker was in the basement. I'm going to go without the lights. Actually, let's just set this up real quick. And then I'll get my flasher light. It's still messing with doors and stuff. Let's turn on this breaker. Oops. Alright, and you'll notice all the light switches. Oh, never mind. They're on. Okay, let's turn off this car because that's annoying. I just clicked to turn that off. There's keys at the very beginning that you can pick up to do that. Let's set up the ghostwriting book. And then UV, it touched the door a while ago, and I'm not seeing any fingerprints, so we're good on that for now. Let's check the spirit box again. Where are you? How old are you? Are you friendly? Where are you? How old are you? Are you friendly? I'm not thinking it's the spirit box, but it doesn't mean it couldn't be. I don't think it's freezing temperatures either, because standing in the ghost room, you would see your breath. Let's go turn that off real quick. So If I had a camera, I could take a picture of that. That's evidence. Or not evidence, that's it's worth money. Oh, look at that, fingerprints. So that is what the fingerprints look like. You could take a picture of that. You actually don't need to have the UV light. So if I had a camera, I could just take a picture of an empty door and it would count as fingerprints. So now we've got fingerprints, we've got ghost orb. So we got to figure out what the last piece of evidence is. Oh, you can see there's another example of a fingerprint. Yeah, messing with that door. That's pretty nice. So I'm going to turn on the light here just for a little bit, just so I can see. The dots and the book don't need the lights to be off. The spirit box does, but we already tested that quite a bit, so we're just kind of chilling now. Before the video ends, I will show you how to survive a hunt. You can tell if it's a hunt or if the hunt is still going on by checking the light switch. If you can't flip the light switch, if you like clicking and it's doing nothing, then that means that the hunt is active. So if you're hiding in a room, you can use that to quickly check if the hunt is still going on or not. So far, no dots, no book. Let's check the spirit box again. Where are you? How old are you? Are you friendly? Where are you? So when you're, let's talk about surviving a hunt real quick. So, the ghost, when it first manifests, you'll have a slight couple seconds to run away before it'll start. It'll manifest and it'll chase you. When you break line of sight, it will follow you to where it last saw you, and then it'll start to wander to look for you. So the best way to escape is to break line of sight once, or ideally twice, and then hide in a tight area like the like that closet that I mentioned. Now it's kind of dangerous standing in here like we are right now, because if it spawned, it could spawn anywhere around us, and that means that we might accidentally run right into it. So I know that this is the ghost area or the garage. So I'm going to stand out here so that if it spawns, I'll be able to break line of sight quickly. I'll tell you what my plan is right now. I'm going to break line of sight this way, I'm going to go around this corner, and I'm going to hide in this closet right here. So that is my plan. When you do that, you want to turn off electronics so that it can't track you. Yeah, that's just, hold on. That's just an event. You could tell because the door didn't shut. If the door slams shut, then that means that it's a hunt. So I knew that that wasn't a hunt, so I wanted to just let my sanity drop a little bit so that I can get within hunt range. Although it did spawn here in the living room, so that was a little... That's not a hunt. That's just an event. Ooh, it's messing with stuff over there. That's not good. So, the ghost room does not change, but if I was on a higher difficulty, at this point, there's... That's just, yeah, that's just an event. It's messing with me now. Like, there's a lot of activity out here now, and so even through that cup, so I would be pretty concerned that the ghost room had changed, and that we might not be able to use our plan of escape, so... Because of that, let's go ahead and turn off the light in that room. It's already off. We'll shut this door here. Actually, let's just turn off the light in here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the truck because we're getting low on sanity, and we've already got everything set up that we need to. We can actually check the evidence from the truck, and I'll show you how here. Yeah, we're below 50%, so we could get hunted at any moment there. With this camera, you can see there's the book here in the corner, right behind that little banner. if the ghost writes in it, it'll get picked up and the pen will move and stuff like that. And so you can see that. And then the other evidence that we can check here is the dots. You'll see a ghost figure run through it. There's actually one type of ghost. That is I believe it's the Goryo. Yes. The Goryo, you can only see through a camera. You can't actually see it in person. So that might be why we weren't seeing our evidence. If we see dots here, that means that we... well, Goryo isn't even an option, so we don't have to worry about that. If you want to big brain it, you can also select some of the evidence. Sometimes if you pick something, like for example ghostwriting, that's not even an option. I don't even need to care about ghostwriting because there's no ghost that has that combination. So let's cross that off. We don't need to care about that. Freezing temperatures, I'm going to hesitantly cross that off because we did not get any freezing breath the whole time we were in there, and we should have. And then, so our options are EMF level 5, dots projector, or spirit box. Spirit box is not an option either. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that out. All right, so it's either EMF level 5 or dots. We have not seen dots, and so my assumption is it's EMF level 5. So EMF level 5, when you're holding your EMF reader, you can hold it up to an item that's been interacted with, and it'll beep or whatever. It'll have its lights. It'll only ever go up to 4. If it goes up to 5, which is the red light, then that counts as evidence. And so sometimes when the ghost interacts with something, it'll give you an EMF 5 reading. And you can also hear it. If I'm thinking back, actually I think I heard it. It has a certain pitch. Depending on how many lights are lit up, it has different pitches. So the da, that note, sorry, I'm a music major, so that note right there, da, which I know is also the starting pitch for the male humming song, that is EMF level 5. And so I'm going to go ahead and hesitantly check that, and it's Obake. We'll go and we'll confirm that, and we'll also show you how to survive a hunt. So let's look at the Obake. Every ghost has a special ability as something that helps determine it, and that's helpful for nightmare difficulty. On nightmare difficulty, it will only give you 2 pieces of evidence, and you have to figure out what the ghost is using some other way. So the Obake, all right, when interacting with the environment, they rarely leave a trace. What that means is when they touch doors, sometimes they'll leave fingerprints, sometimes they won't. So if you have photos of an interaction and then you also have photos of fingerprints, then that means that it's an Obake. And you can see right here, we already know it's an Obake. We took a picture of the door. It was an interaction. And then obviously we used the UV light and it had fingerprints. So it should have said fingerprints if it was any other type of fingerprint ghost. My daughter's crawling to try to scare me. So if it's any other type of ghost, it would say fingerprints here if it was a fingerprint ghost. So we know that it's an Obake. And that's the other piece right here. It said that sometimes it leaves unique evidence. This is just, if you see this, you're very lucky. Sometimes the handprints and stuff it'll leave will have 6 fingers. It's pretty rare to see, but when you see that, you know 100% it's an Obake. All right, so let's go back in. Let's show you how to survive a hunt. Looks like it turned off the breaker again. What are you doing?
I want to give you a hug.
Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to chill. If I go into the basement right now, it might be a death sentence, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to wait right here. That's a hunt. So you could see all the lights started flickering. I also heard a door slam, and so that means that it's a hunt. The front door is locked right now. If I tried to get out, I would not be able to. So right now, I don't hear any more footsteps. I'm going to test with the light switch. That hunt is done. So that is how you survive a hunt. So what I did there is I turned off my flashlight. I believe you can also leave it on, but I don't know. I wouldn't risk it. I would just memorize the map. If you have the lights on in the house, if you have the breaker on and stuff like that, you can also utilize lights. What I like to do when it's starting to get to late game and I'm starting to get chain hunted, I like to lay down flashlights on the ground in the path that I need to be walking frequently, so that way if the breaker gets flipped or whatever, I can kind of see a path to my chosen hiding spot that I've kind of designated for myself. You can also use glow sticks and stuff like that to mark areas, the UV light. So I kind of use that to mark off areas that I need to frequent when I'm getting into the late game and sanity's starting to get really low. But the way that I survived the hunt is I turned off my flashlight, I broke line of sight, I went around that corner, and then I around that second corner, and then hid in that closet. The only way that it would find me at that point, it would have to wander from the ghost room all the way to that hallway, and then also check in that closet. And the chance that it will randomly do that during its timer, if it didn't see me go that direction, is pretty low. So the faster that you can break line of sight, the better. That's the easiest way to survive a ghost hunt. Now there are some exceptions to this. I'll go ahead and point out the biggest one. The Diogen. This one has a special ability. This ghost can sense you. It knows exactly where you're at, and it will move very fast until it gets close to you, and as it gets close to you, it will move like crawlingly slow. So this ghost, you actually can't hide from it. You have to outrun it. So I've had games where I'm playing like Ring Around the Rosie around the kitchen table and stuff like that. It's pretty easy to kite it. So this one's an exception. This one's pretty difficult. If you get this and you don't know that it's the Diogen, you can be in some big trouble. The nice thing is I believe this doesn't hunt until you are very low sanity. It's one of the latest hunting ghosts. There are other ghosts that have special abilities, like the Revenant, for example, will move very fast when it sees you, but then when you break line of sight, it's extremely slow. The Hantu moves fast in cold temperatures, so like for example, in the ghost room, if it's freezing, it'll move very fast, but as soon as it gets out of that into warmer rooms, it'll move slow. So they all have different movement speeds. Movement speed is a pretty important part of discovering the ghost on higher difficulties. Not a really big deal on the lower difficulties where you have all three pieces of evidence. So at this point, we know it's the Obake. We've gotten as many pictures as we can. We've got 3-star photos on everything. It's great. And we cannot complete these objectives. We've picked up the bone, so we're going to get as much money as we really can under the circumstances. So I've locked it in. I've make sure that you have your ghost choice circled, otherwise you will not get credit. And then I'm going to click. And this means I'm quitting the mission. I'm done. We'll exit here and we'll see if we are correct or not. Hooray! So we can see it was indeed an Obake, so we found the correct ghost type. That's worth 10. Couldn't get any of the side objectives. We got the bone. The mission itself was worth 10. And then, so that all is multiplied by my difficulty. So only 1 times multiplier for amateur difficulty. As you increase each difficulty, it'll add a number. And then the photos are added on at the end on top of that. So we made 10, 20, plus 45. Sorry, 10, 20, 30. Sorry, I'm blind. Plus 45. So we made $75 there. Pretty nice. If you want, you can check out other statistics, like, I don't know, how many interactions the ghost had, how much time you spent in the ghost room to see if you were close or not. You know, just some fun statistics. All right, and now let's talk about some next steps for you. So if you have kind of followed along with the steps and processes in this video, you should be becoming more and more comfortable with finding out the ghost type using the evidence on amateur difficulty or whatever. At this point, your next couple steps is I would recommend adding, again, the second camera, the strong flashlight, the thermometer, and then as you go, you can start adding in some of the things for the optional objectives. Things like the smudge sticks are very important. Crucifixes can be. Lighters are needed for that. Smudge stick and the candles. Salt is good for getting feet pictures, which is good for money. Things like that. And then you can start bumping up the difficulty. Maybe try getting familiar with other maps and stuff. So that is a good set of steps to get you on your journey for Phasmophobia. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful for you, and I will catch you another time. See ya.